We're going to be talking today around the 5 ways to make your life the most fulfilling, wonderful life you can. Sharing our learning with you, and we're doing it every day because there is no such thing as mastering a happy life or a fulfilling life. You're always working on it. I know that I was terrible at this.
He was terrible at it.
Awful. Drea's like, we did this, we got that.
How
How are you going to celebrate?
How are we going to celebrate?
Like, imagine you've got all the money in the world. It's the start of a day. You've got infinite amount of money. You have infinite amount of resources and you can do or be anything you want to do. Just take yourself. This is a free thinking space, infinite thinking space. What is it that you would do every day to keep yourself fulfilled and happy and having purpose? I'm over 500 days in on my journey of languages.
It's amazing.
And I think that within 5 years, I should be able to converse loosely in at least a couple of languages.
You're going to be
English.
great. She's going to struggle with me. I'm still going to be speaking very Andrea. Isms, no matter where I go.
I mean, you're struggling in an English restaurant.
How rude. How rude. Mel Robbins, let's do this.
Mel Robbins. Drea wants to do an interview on a podcast
With Mel Robbins.
with Mel Robbins, who really inspires her.
In whatever way that you want it, Mel. You can interview me, or I can interview you, or we can do something really collaborative.
So number 3 on our list.
Yes, number 3 on our list. Okay. Ooh, this is a good one. I like this one.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Love One Life. I'm Fred Warner. This is Drea Warner. We're your hosts and we're going to be talking today around the 5 ways to make your life the most fulfilling, wonderful life you can. Now, before we dive into today's episode, Dre, I just want to remind everybody, Love One Life is our motto about loving the one life that you have today, not putting off fulfillment and happiness to someday in the future, but thinking, what can I do every day, including today, to be more fulfilled, to be happier in my way of life?
And to live a life of intention, intentionality, mindfulness. It sounds pretty woo-woo, but the more that you do it, the better life becomes.
And if you think we're experts at it, please be assured we're learning. We're sharing our learning with you, and we're doing it every day because there is no such thing as mastering a happy life or a fulfilling life. You're always working on it.
Yeah, and you're always going to come across problems and challenges, and it's not always going to feel great, but this particular episode is about helping you with each little tip get one step closer to feeling good and feeling better every day, regardless of those challenges.
And so before we get into the 5 ways to make your life more fulfilling and happy, Dre, tell us about what led you to put these building blocks together. What was your mind thinking when you put this list together?
I'll be honest. I was going through a challenging time myself. I'd had a challenging episode, maybe a day, that didn't feel so great. And I always bring myself back to, you have the power, Andrea, to change this. You have the power and the control in yourself in which to feel better in yourself that doesn't require any negative aids from outside. So that's what I started to do and started to put this episode together. But also, we're into February, right? So January is gone.
Wow, it is, isn't it?
It is. January is gone. And it's sometimes, for many people, a hard slog. And I think it's getting through it, trying to be your best, trying to do the best, but it feels like a heavy weight. So we're into February now, and I'm thinking now is the time to start thinking about yourself properly. Back to the old you, if you like, a good you.
Brilliant. So it's nice for you to know as a listener that what we're talking about today isn't based on some aloof, we've got this figured out and we know what we're doing. This is based on Dre's own experiences and finding tough days, that it comes from a place of being on the journey as well. Being on a journey of making your life the best it can be, reducing the amount of negativity in it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sure. Get into it then.
Yeah, I want to get into it.
Yeah. Okay. So of the 5 steps, what is number 1?
Number 1 is unfortunately the hardest to start with. So we're going to think about it like this. Hardest, and then everything gets easier after that. Was that eat your frog or something?
Eat the frog.
What's the actual book called?
I don't know.
I think it
Isn't
might
it
be
called
Eat the Frog. It might be.
Do the crappiest thing first. To be honest, this first one is really hard. There are other things in here that are quite hard too, but let's go
Do you
on
think
it.
so?
Absolutely.
Okay, interesting. So it's decide what you want.
Step number 1, decide what you want.
Decide what you want. Now, why does that Like, actually, well, that's easy. Is it? Is it really? Have you actually thought about what you want? Not about what you think people expect of you, not about what you think people think you should do or what you think you should do because of whatever society, family expectations, your own weird expectations that you have fed yourself over the years. What do you really want? And then you have to write it down.
You do.
And then you have to read it every day.
Okay, so what do you want?
Yeah.
Figure it out,
Yeah.
write it down, read it every day.
Yes,
So sounds easy.
it does.
This is where I think huge amounts of people, including me,
Mm-hmm.
really struggle with, I'm not sure exactly what it is I do want.
Yeah.
I'm very skilled at what I don't want,
Yes.
but that doesn't tell me what I do want
No.
because it still leaves too many options. You can spend a life finding things you don't want. So one of the things I imagine is you've got all the money in the world. It's the start of a day. You've got infinite amount of money. You have infinite amount of resources and you can do or be anything you want to do. Just take yourself. This is a free thinking space, infinite thinking space. What is it that you would do every day to keep yourself fulfilled and happy and having purpose if those were the circumstances, if there was no money issues, no bills, no demanding family relatives, maybe they're in your life?
And so that you enjoy yourself. That's really key. You've got to enjoy yourself in whatever that you're doing. And let's not be unrealistic here. There's only probably so much of the time that could be spent just messing around and farting around. So previously you might be thinking, oh, I'd like to just go mountain biking every day and I want to go swimming and I want to drive cars and I want to be in the sun. But there gets a point after probably a couple of weeks of that. I mean, we've been on holidays where you've had everything at your disposal and there's still like a lack of fulfillment, a lack of passion, a lack of meaning for what you want. So,
You're absolutely right. So basically, if I look at it don't think about your ideal holiday here, because if you're in life thinking, I do all this work, and so for me, what I want is to go away to Barbados and sit on a beach, great. But after 2 to 4 weeks,
Yeah.
or even if you made it 6 months, you're going to get bored. And the question is, what do you want to do with your life given no constraints, given no ties? Now, I know that this is perhaps sounds a bit unrealistic thinking at this point, but bear with me because we're going to come into how to use it. So when you sit down and you're thinking about what you do want, it's often where I find myself quite a struggle.
okay, but I'm just going to interject there and say you don't have to sit down because that's quite hard to sit down and decide what you want. You can do it on a walk, can't you?
You can do it in a walk. You could do it by going and speaking on the phone with friends
Yes.
who will give you their opinions, which may or may not help you. But
Yeah.
yes, there's other ways to
Yeah.
figure out what you want. And you can come up with a number of things. So for me, I have many interests. I have writing these books over here that you see. I have the songs and the music that I release that are connected with those books as well. We have my business side of helping business with their R&D and their technologies and their products. And there's, like you say, there's sports cars, there's cars in general, there's mountain biking. I have all these interests. So I think, what is it that I'd want to do? And I struggle often to figure it out. And I might come up with something and then I don't stick at it because then I lose belief. And I'll tell you what, so in my ideal world, the exercises we've been doing recently, when I said, what do I really want? Is I realized I'd really want to get back into leading high-tech advanced engineering companies, particularly in the car space, helping them define their products and their R&Ds and their roadmaps, because this is a skill set I have. It's something I've worked in aerospace, in Formula One and other industries.
And it lights you up when you talk about it. And that's how we know that it's something that he wants to do. And let's be honest here, that was a struggle even to kind of get you to that point, wasn't it? When we were on a walk, we talked about it. We were going back and forth, and I was like, yeah, what do you really, what do you, and I had to keep interjecting because Fred would always take it to what maybe people might want or what people might need from him. And I had to keep on putting the full stops in these sentences and go, no. But what does that feel like to you? When you turn up every day, what would you like to do? How would you like to feel? How would you like to operate? What would you like your days to look like? And eventually, we managed to hone it down, didn't we? To actually, what I'd really love to do is this. And it's like, there we go. That's it. That's the stuff that lights you on fire, the stuff that makes you smile, the stuff that you go, that would be cool, wouldn't it?
You're absolutely right. And the thing I kept doing, as Dre described, with thinking this is what I want to do, but I kept flicking it into, but what would people buy off me? What would people
Yeah.
want from me? They'll probably want this and they'll probably want that. So I start writing down what I think they want. And Dre kept hitting me sort of with this sort of the verbal stops of, no, what is it that you want? Forget what they want. Forget what you think the market wants from you right now for just this moment. And that's when I came up with actually getting involved in the product definition, deciding on what cars to produce and what they should have in them and what market they should be in or what sort of customer they should be aiming at. That would be something that I would really enjoy. Whereas all of the other side of things that I can do in businesses, skills I have, there is a need for them, but it's not my pure joy, passion point in business. So then we came up with that. Now there's other things I want to do. I want to play the piano live. I'd love to, one point in my life, just play a gig to Glastonbury
That's so cool.
on my piano. That would be cool. I would really like that. How about you? When you talk about what you want,
Okay.
what is it that's sprung to mind out of this journey that I've been on?
Yeah. Like Mel Robbins. Let's do this.
Mel Robbins. Drea wants to do an interview on a podcast
With Mel Robbins.
with Mel Robbins, who really inspires her.
In whatever way that you want it, Mel. You can interview me or I can interview you or we can do something really like collaborative. That's where I'm aiming for. That's where I'm going for. Yeah, sounds absolutely ridiculous, doesn't it? But it's what I want and that's what I'm going to aim for. And everything that I'm going to do is going to have that in mind.
And that's because your dreams now, what you want to do is build this podcast into being a sort of recognized podcast that's really helping people live their life and enjoy a better life.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's sometimes hard to find a person that you can almost like emulate or that you're inspired by because you don't love everything about, probably what their life is, but there's like little bits and pieces that you think, I quite like that. And I love what Mel manages to achieve. She manages to be authentically herself. She sits there and she talks to really interesting people. She helps such a wide audience whilst being not infallible herself. She talks about her failures or her challenges. And for me, gosh, I would absolutely love that. I would love the same type of journey, probably without the massive fame that she's got. If I'm completely honest, I'm not sitting there looking for fame. And in most cases, I prefer to be behind the camera rather than in front of the camera. However, for that, here we are. But for that, like, I would love it. It would make me feel like joy inside and that I was doing a good thing and I was managing to help a lot of people whilst also helping myself and doing something that I found fulfilling.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So from this point number one, know what it is you want, write it down.
Yes. But check it every day.
Read it every day.
Yeah. You can't just write it down once and then like think about it in your head. You've got to see it written on the paper or on your pad or whatever. Got to keep visiting that.
And that brings us on to our second step.
Okay. So you got to make sure that you do 3 things every day that helps you towards that goal. And one of those things should be probably quite scary. Okay. One of those things take you outside your comfort zone. Take you outside your comfort zone. And it doesn't need to be massive. I'm not talking about jumping out a plane or anything crazy like that. I'm saying that you might struggle with sending emails to people about something. That's one of my challenges. If I'm trying to contact celebs or very important or very successful people, I have to find a way to communicate with them and press that send button. And sometimes that feels hard. And sometimes that feels like they're going to get this and they're going to be like, who the heck is this girl? Like, what's she even about? I have to get over that. But it's about evolution of yourself. It's about challenging yourself because living your best life is not living a life of sedentary, lying about, being relaxed all the time. It comes with effort and challenges, but good challenges in a way that make you feel great.
Brilliant. I think there's a lot of points in there and I want to pick up on a few of them.
Yeah.
Certainly that point of this podcast isn't for people that are fundamentally lazy.
No.
If your ideal life is sitting around on your bum watching TV, then I'm sorry, this podcast isn't going to be of much help to you. But so these 3 things and the one thing that's uncomfortable, I think it's a really great tip because there's so many times I've spoken to people and they've said, I really want to be doing this, or I really want to have that, I really want this. And you say to them, brilliant, what do you do about it on a day-to-day basis? And they go blank.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Because they run out of time or they think of their excuses, yeah?
We've all got excuses.
We have.
Now, hands up, I'm guilty of this massively. I can have dreams and things that I've sat on for, sometimes they're like 5 to 10-year-old dreams. And I'm still talking about this thing. And I'm not doing anything towards it day to day. And I'm like, like, how can I make progress towards my dreams if I'm not doing anything? So do 3 things every day, and it may be really small things.
Yeah.
But over a period of time, over 1, 2, 5, 10 years, they'll be life-changing. And that's really the art of life, because there are no silver bullets.
No.
There's no magic answer. Something's going to pop up and ta-da, your whole world has changed. You've got everything you want and you didn't have to put any effort in. It doesn't work like that unless there's a few unicorns, someone wins the lottery or whatever. But you can't build your plans around.
And just to jump in there, I run a marketing agency called Creative in Time. And a lot of my prospects and customers, that's exactly what they want, is that silver bullet. And
Magic.
just like life, there is none.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work and effort to get you there. But if you can enjoy the journey along the way, that's part of it.
A really good point, actually, because when you're doing your self-marketing, which might be yourself or it might be your company, you don't suddenly make everybody aware of you and want your products in 2 months. It takes years of consistent good practice.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. And so one of the things I was going to say, so the first point we brought up earlier, which was knowing what you want, I was really interested to sort of rephrase it as a kind of soul-searching moment.
Yes.
And then this 3 things you can do every day. What you'll be facing every day is your fears, because your fear of failure, of rejection, of not being good enough, all the things that will stop you will start to come in at this point. And one of the ways you get through it is by just keep going, doing things like habit stacking and taking action regardless. So you won't always feel motivated. There's a huge sort of push now with people talking about motivation, and motivation isn't something you get to take action. You take action to get motivated. So it's by doing that you get motivated, not by getting motivated that you start doing. So the time to start is when you feel like you don't want to, when you're tired, when you haven't got time, that's when you start.
And do you know who taught me about these 3 things?
I don't know.
You.
Is it me?
Well, you taught me about outcomes versus task lists.
Right. I did.
He did. And because I remember he would look down on me whilst I was doing my task list. Because, I get that sense of satisfaction of I've done something. Tick, I've been really busy today. Tick, I've managed to do this. How has that achieved the outcome, Andrea, that you are looking to achieve? Well, I can probably try and find a way back to it, but the reality of the situation is there's probably about 2 or 3 things on my list which will help me get to what I need to get to. Again, you're bringing it back to business because all of us work, pretty much. And you sit there and you think, right, I need to get 1 sale this week. What tasks on your list or outcomes on your list is going to help you achieve that? And that's the same things about you. How can you live your best life? If I'm wanting to go and meet Mel Robbins, and I want to get in front of her and I want to meet her, what 3 things, big or small, can I do every day in order to help me do that and achieve that?
Absolutely.
So
and interesting that it came from the outcomes point, because you're absolutely right. This was what I drive in business all the time, which is, 80% of what people do every day doesn't take you towards your outcome. 20% of it does. And everyone normally focuses on the 80% because that's easier. And so by focusing on your outcome, you focus on where you want to get to. And one of the things that we do now, so one of the things I want to learn is a language or a couple of languages. And the reason I want to learn a couple of languages is I intend to spend more time in Europe in the future. I'd like to go traveling more, maybe even working and doing business in Europe. So I'm learning some languages. So we make sure we do languages every day. And that's part of our habit stacking, is you start putting new routine in, put a new routine on top of that one, put a new routine on top of that one. And so the more routines you introduce in your day-to-day life, one little routine at a time, the more you change your world and the way you live your life. Because I'm not going to learn a language in a couple of months, especially, we're not young kids.
Well, also you can't do the immersion piece because you can't be there to learn it, by listening every single day. So you're doing what you can do in that time.
And I'm over 500 days in on my journey of languages.
It's amazing.
And I think that within 5 years, I should be able to converse loosely in at least a couple of languages.
You're going to be
English.
great. She's going to struggle with me. I'm still going to be speaking very Andrea. Isms, no matter where I go.
I mean, you're struggling in an English restaurant.
How rude. How rude. Anyway,
So-
let's move on, Warner.
So habit stacking. And then when we talk about this, the uncomfortable thing, so
Yeah.
it is really useful. Your uncomfortability will be different to someone else's.
Mm,
For some of us, it's picking up the phone and dialing somebody. For other people,
yeah.
it's just doing that piece of work on a computer that you've just been avoiding. Whatever your uncomfortable piece is, just do a little bit of it every day. And a little and often is groundbreaking. And these books that you see over here behind you, they were built through little and often. I didn't just sit down and write them in a day. The 7Q book, Mastering Your Plan in 7 Questions, I wrote that 3 times. The first 2 drafts got binned because they were boring. And this version is considered by a lot of people quite a fun read. But I didn't do them overnight. Sitting down every day or every other day thinking, well, I can't do a book every day. Maybe I do a book one day and a music piece the next
Yeah.
day. And I just chip away. But over time, it really adds up.
It really does. And encouraged me into writing my book now as well and giving the same advice. And so that has been super helpful, that I might write a section, I might write a page, I might, try and put it all together, little bits and pieces rather than bite everything in the one chunk, which seems huge, especially when I've got so much to talk about.
And so you're going to show everybody, aren't you, how you can do it?
Yeah, I will. Absolutely.
So number 3 on our list.
Yes, number 3 on our list. Okay. Ooh, this is a good one. I like this one. This is say no to distractions. How do you sum this one up?
Distractions are the things that you allow into your life to make excuses for not doing the things that you actually want to do. And when I say that you allow in, I mean it. I mean it that you have to take accountability for your own family, friends, surroundings, work, life, everything, because it's exactly as you've built it over your life. No one else has been in charge of your life. You have, therefore it's what you've built. So if you want something different, you have to change it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you talked about this one being discipline.
I did, yes. The core theme here is discipline. When you think about distraction coming in, and it can be anything from people spending, let's be honest, people are spending often between 2 and 4 hours a day on social media.
Yeah.
If not, it might be between 2 and 4 hours watching the next Netflix and Disney, whatever, Prime programs, whilst in between perhaps having a family with kids, dropping off at work, picking the kids up again, getting home, having tea. But the amount of time that we claim we don't have whilst having these vices that consume our time. And those vices are, people that are bringing in drama to our life, maybe dealing with another drama from one of your family members who's constantly needing this emergency reactive support. Yet it's the same over and over again. It's not one-off, it's just a continued part of their life and who they are. Social media dramas, drinking. Once you start drinking of an evening, you're not going to really be able to produce anything creative or do anything. You're now into consuming, and then you're into sort of, well, everything's now written off to another day.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I do also want to acknowledge, though, is that we are living in a time like no other that we've experienced before, especially when it comes to social media, especially when it comes to the screen in front of your face. It has been built to distract you. It has been built to make you consume. You have to fight against the power of that if you truly want a different life for yourself. I really do believe that. I honestly believe that it's not our fault. It's been pushed upon us. It has been shoved down our throat. And honestly, I feel bad for the younger generation that they have to fight these challenges in order to progress in the world. I feel bad for people our age who have been fed this now for many, many years. It's not your fault, but you do have control in which to change that. And one of the ways, and I speak from experience myself, like Instagram is my guilty pleasure, or was my guilty pleasure. I enjoyed sharing memes. I enjoyed finding sometimes like things that make you laugh or whatever, but it was like going into a trance-like state when I was in there. It's so weird. I'll just go in there quickly, and then suddenly, I'm sure you all agree, that so much time could be passed. It could be 20 minutes, it could be half an hour, it could be an hour, it could be longer than that. And that, I was finding myself like, I was talking to you saying I don't have the time to do whatever. And I'm thinking, if I look at my screen time on Instagram, it's saying roughly on average, I was spending about an hour and 20 a day on there. Horrendous. An hour and 20 a day to kind of grab back. So I changed my mindset a little bit, and I'm like strict with myself. And so over the time, my goal and my challenge for myself was to get that screen time average down. And I'm currently sitting at about 9 to 10 minutes average a day.
Fabulous.
I know, yeah. When I go
Well
in
done.
there, I look at it and I go, as soon as I swiped into it, I tell myself, this is a bad thing, what you're doing. This is not a good thing. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I come back out. And that's a mindset shift for me.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's a huge mindset shift. And like you say, we have been given this technology
Yeah.
and it's been pushed into us by all the tech companies, and they have us all. They have a lot of us, don't they?
They do.
And it's interesting that the tech leaders really let their children on social media because they have designed it to be addictive, to dwell on people's and take people's dopamine, to keep them hooked because it makes them money. It's very simple. So when you're looking at your world, and social media is a great example because discipline is now the frequency. It's not just the, I sat down for half an hour. If you want to give yourself half an hour, it's just, I want half an hour. Fair enough, do it. But be disciplined with it. It's the checking the phone every 5 minutes. Every time you go to the toilet, every time you're walking along. We're also very sad when you see, I don't sit anywhere if it's a doctor's surgery, a hospital, an airport, a train, you're walking down the road and everybody's just got this phone in their hand. It might as well be in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Stuck in the zombie land of walking along, doing your thing. And it's sad. So there's huge amounts of time that people have often.
Yeah.
The other thing with discipline is it's like the whole gym thing, is getting a routine that works for you is really important. I found if I didn't have a routine, I didn't have discipline and I wouldn't achieve anything. So for me, for example, go to the gym 3 times a week. On those days, I get up and I'm out of the house by 7 in the morning, out the gym. Then if I want to write a book, maybe it's depending on who you are, you might find actually getting up at 7 in the morning, spending 1 hour on your book or your craft or whatever it is that you're trying to do. Find that time, put it in the day, put it in your diary, and don't say, I will do it at some point today, because it doesn't happen. You get busy doing all the other things you get distracted with. The way to take it back is to start building your routine to say, no, I'm going to do this at 7 o'clock, and I'm going to do this at 8 o'clock, and I'm going to do this at 9 o'clock. And then maybe after that, I can have free time or do my other things.
Yeah.
So I think that's really key, is building these habits of, this is what I'm going to do day to day.
Yeah. And none of this sounds sexy, does it? None of this sounds like, hey, you're living your best life. But the reality of the situation is getting yourself out of the matrix. Suddenly you open your eyes up to what's happening around you and being more in control and creating the life that you want to live.
Just to say, I think that discipline one we just discussed, which is like saying no to distractions, I think that's one of the hardest things.
Yes.
I think for most of us,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I know I struggle with
It's
it.
a complete mindset shift.
Yeah.
It really, really is. And you have to be on top of it,
Yeah,
don't you? You have to be
absolutely.
on top of it. Ready?
Yeah, number 4.
Number 4, it's about staying on track. Right. Tell us, how do you stay on track, Fred?
If I think how I've helped all kinds of companies over the years, particularly developing products and technologies, staying on track is having your eye on the outcome, on the goal, and just being always focused on that, because all the noise and distractions come in to continually knock you off plan. And the plan is often only as good as the day it was written. The next day, the plan's often gone out the window. So in your personal life, I find the things that start to creep in is a lack of belief.
Okay.
Maybe giving myself all these reasons that it's probably not going to work, this, and people won't let me. Why would somebody think that I'm good enough to do that? And so there's a mixture of taking my eye off the prize by not staying on track and thinking that's where I'm going to go there, being determined, and then letting the doubts and the fears creep in to take me onto a new path. And then you come back to me, and it happens to other people. You go back 1 or 2 weeks later and you'll say, what are you up to now? Well, I thought you were going to go that way. And I'm like, oh, I'm going this way. Is that going to make you happy? Not really. No. So you've got to know your goal. And I think that a lot of this is the point of the staying on track is mindfulness.
Because before it was saying no to distractions, and then this is being mindful about what you're doing. That's the next step.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would say that sometimes the lack of self-belief is really hard to get over, because you have good days, don't you? You have really, really good days and you're like, hey, I'm on fire and like things are good and it's sunny outside and I'm happy and everything like that. And then there are days, maybe the weather is an important factor. We've talked about this before. You sit there, you look at your life, you look at how hard things feel and how challenging things feel, and then you start to question yourself. And so being mindful and not limiting yourself helps you stay on track. It is challenging, but especially if you've got like a cheerleader, that's quite good. You know, you've got me, and I'm just constantly at the sidelines with my pom poms.
It's
Come
great.
on, Fred, give me a net. Give me an hour. You need that sometimes when you are struggling to believe in yourself. So find yourself a good partner, a good friend, somebody who's a bit like a accountability partner for you, and give them a call or have a cup of tea and get them to give you that you need, which is a little bit of a kick up the backside usually, is how I see it with you sometimes. I'm like, come on, Brad. You've got this.
Accountability partners are a really big thing. And
Yeah.
I think having somebody that you're sharing your ideas and plans with that's going to say, well, did you do it? Did you do it? Is one of the biggest things you can do, because it's so easy to have your intentions, but to then just give yourself permission with a bunch of excuses to get out of it.
Yeah.
Now, in the workplace, you're used to being driven, a lot of you, if you're employees, you're being driven by somebody up higher than you, who's been driven by somebody normally up higher than them, and the list goes on, to deliver a thing, to make a thing,
Yeah,
to
so you're accountable
service a
to
thing.
them.
So yeah, if you say, well, my job is to make sure all these things get built this week, or all these invoices go out this week, there's a point where if you weren't doing it, someone would say, well, you're going to have to do it, or you're going to have to leave, so we can find someone that will do it. And it's thinking, how can you stay on track in your own life, in business as well? If you've got a difficult project that you're trying to overcome, maybe it's a new complex product or a product launch, or you're trying to go into a new marketplace, there's often a lot of blockers. There's things that will stop this being a success, and you identify those and you say they're either, if it's there right now as a blocker, it's an issue, we need to deal with it, or if it may happen but we don't know if it will, we call that a risk, and it's something that we need to plan for and mitigate. How would we deal with it if that thing came to happen? And so you run plans and registers around your blockers and your potential blockers, so that if you're really on your game, you're keeping the path clear so that you can stay on track by getting the work done. But if you're not dealing with any blockers, and every time you hit a block, you just stop and go, well, that's it, I've given up, I'm not going on anymore, you won't get there. You've got to figure out ways around it.
Agreed, 100%. So I think those are really good examples actually that you've given about risks and mitigation, and also the more personal issues of self-belief.
Absolutely. I know something that gets me would be
Yeah.
setting myself a goal and doing something, and then doubt and lack of self-belief comes in, and it just gradually gets its sort of tentacles around me and pulls me back down, and like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah. And you know what? It doesn't change overnight either. I would say that you have evolved massively, but probably over the past 5 to 6 years, hasn't it? And you're now at a place where it probably only takes a little chat or a little help, whereas before you wouldn't be moving anywhere anytime soon, would you? I used to vision Fred. I could see all Freds around him, you know, like at the end of The Matrix when they're having that fight scene with all of the Mr. Smiths, is it? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's all the versions of
all
me.
the versions, yeah. And they'd all be in Fred's way, all be holding him back and pushing him back. I was like, I can see it. No matter, you can't move. You cannot move. And now he's maybe down to about like a couple. You've got like maybe one behind, like in front of him, one behind him. But we try to kick them out of the way. I try and push them so that you can move forward.
And I can't promise you that you'll find somebody in your world like Drea who guides you through your day to day, but you can listen to these shows and you can think, well, it's working for these guys. The phrase getting out of your own way is probably one of the best phrases I can really say, because the person that's held you back the most in your life, I guarantee it, is yourself. Yes, some family members or friends or employees or employers have maybe put some crappy words in there at some point in your life. They've said some things or did some things that have really, they seeded and they grew and you've let them. But you are the person that's holding yourself back.
And just remember, you are stronger than all of those people. You are stronger. You have control over your own mind. You just got to remember that. When you're having those bad thoughts and those tricky conversations with yourself, you've just got to remember that's you talking to you. Stop it. Start talking to yourself nicely. Start giving yourself encouragement in the same way that you would with a friend or with your child, you know?
That self-talk thing is massive. You know, when you often hear people and their self-talk. I went out for a game of golf not long ago, and there was a guy I was playing with, and he was a really good golfer. way better than me, way better than me. And his self-talk was awful. I mean, every time he didn't hit the world's most brilliant, perfect shot, he was seriously dissing himself. He was calling himself all kinds of fat swear words, and his golf clubs were flying around. I mean, he was getting seriously angry, but the way he was speaking to himself, and I'm saying to him, your self-talk could do some work.
Was that why you were chuckling? Because you're chuckling now.
Yeah, I was chuckling.
That's very
as
helpful,
your golf club goes flying over there. I mean, his score was amazing. My score was awful. I seem to be the one having the better time.
There you go. There you go. You're still going to
Absolutely.
enjoy yourself more.
You have to. You've got to enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
And that's been the challenge.
That's been the challenge.
And I think for a lot of us, it is the challenge, because when you get totally focused on your goal, it comes on to the next point we're going to say in a second.
Yeah.
You can forget that the point is to enjoy the journey, because you may never reach the goal, or you may reach the goal and find it unsatisfying and then need a new goal. So it's not the pursuit of goals will make you happy. It's just that you want these things, but you have to figure out how to enjoy the journey.
And that's part of what we're doing.
That is how it is, and that's the challenge.
How is the best way then to enjoy? What's the last thing on our tip list?
Well, the fifth and final segue here is treat yourself for your wins, and they can be really small wins. But you should treat yourself and recognize, like, we did something. And I know that I was terrible at this.
He was terrible at it.
Awful. Drea's like, we did this, we got that. How are you going to celebrate?
How are we going to celebrate?
Like, I would be way too, and even when we were building the businesses, every new client that was won, you had to really make a point of saying, every time we win a new client, we should celebrate. But I'd be thinking, yeah, but we're not quite on our business plan yet. We've not quite got the income that we wanted to get it to, or we were building. And so I would forget that these small steps towards the overall goal were really important and should be celebrated.
Yeah.
Because then you feel better about the small steps and you feel like you're on plan, and that motivates you to keep on going and enjoy the journey.
That's the best part of enjoyment, is like not achieving it and then going right next. You know?
Yeah. Take a moment.
Take a moment.
Pat yourself on the back.
Okay, so I'll share a story of how I used to, way back in the day when I was running businesses, and I think I'd walked out of a secure kind of contract because it just wasn't working for me. And I went back to the drawing board and I was like, right, I need to make X amount every day. So let's say for argument's sake, it was £100 a day. I have to make £100 every day. And I would do that. I would achieve my £100 a day, of course, because I put my mind to it and I did my 3 things and I wrote my lists and everything. And my goal and my reward to myself was going down to the sauna. I could not go to the sauna that day until I had achieved my goal. And I would that would be it. That was something that small. But it was also, it's a helpful thing for me as well. Like, saunas are good for you as well. And it helps part of relaxation and enjoyment and body and health and everything. So my reward to myself wasn't a bad reward. It would kick me in the butt later as well, like, let's get the whiskey or let's get all the donuts, which I'm also a fan of.
Yeah, best to give yourself measured rewards.
That's a good idea.
The ones that you enjoy. You could go out for a meal. We used to get a bottle of fizz, didn't we?
Yeah, a little toast or whatever. But for us, maybe that's not always the way that we want to go nowadays.
No, we tend to be more focused on enjoying life without getting the alcohol involved, don't we?
Without getting trolleyed. Fred still misses it a little bit. But the pain afterwards is too much.
Yeah, the lack of sleep from 1 or 2 many whiskies doesn't quite work.
Yeah, it's not achieving the goal anymore.
It doesn't. So this reward system is really important. And I think if you ever heard of the book Power Now and the author Eckhart Tolle, there's a lot deeper that he goes into this, but really the essence is you've got to enjoy today, because if you're thinking about tomorrow, or when I get to this place, I'm going to be happy then, that will be another today. If you think about it, 10 days from now will be another today. So if you're always looking in the future, you never enjoy today, you won't enjoy your life. You can't, because you're living in the future. Other people really struggle with the past. Something's happened and they just can't get over it. Every day, you're just carrying it around, you're thinking about it, you're living it again and again. The past is the past. Don't think about it all the time. The future, okay, you can put plans in place, agree what you're going to do, but then focus on creating the brilliance that you're going to create and enjoying the moments and being present. Because every time you're thinking whilst people are talking, which I've done many times, is you're not fully present in the moment, are you?
No.
And there's no joy in that.
It's a struggle for a lot of people to be present in the now, especially with all the distractions, yada, 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 all the things that we've just talked about, staying on track. So staying in the now, reaping your rewards for your little wins, write down the wins as well, so you can keep track so that when you're looking back on your journey, you can look back with appreciation and satisfaction that you're a winner. Instead of like, oh, I've been trying for this for years and I've just not got anywhere. No, 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 no. Keep track of your wins. Enjoy the wins. Write them down. And you know what? If you've had any wins recently and you want to tell us about them, please put them in the comments below. Share the wins. Share the good news.
So what I do is we're going to sum up what we've just said really quickly.
Yeah.
To end the show. Before we do, think about who you know would benefit from hearing the content that you've heard today.
Mhm.
And please send this show to them. Share them with a link.
If you like this show and you think it was useful for you, be sure to subscribe.
So let's sum up where we got to.
Yeah, go on.
Point number 1, decide what you want. It's a soul-searching exercise, isn't it? Point number 2, do three things every day towards the goal of what you want. 3 things every day. One of them needs to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Habit stacking really helps. Putting routines in place to help you get there. Number 3, say no to distractions. You really need discipline in your life that you can cut out the noise, stop doing 80% of busyness that gets you nothing, and start focusing on the 20% that's really going to change your life. Number 4, stay on track. Know where you're going. Now we're on stay on track. And that's a mindfulness thing that's not only your own self-belief and inner living with intention, but also not letting the doubts creep in, not letting you limit yourself. There may be things that are going to stop you getting there. You've got to come up with new plans and new approaches. You have to keep going. Stay on track. And number 5, lastly, we've put treat yourself for the wins. There can be small wins. You need to treat yourself. You need to reward yourself. And then you can go back to the beginning and think, am I still on track? Do I still know what I want? And we work through the system again.
There you go, guys. There you go. I hope that has been helpful to you. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And any feedback you've got, we love to hear it, especially the good stuff.
Positive feedback. I'm okay with the negative feedback. You can keep that to yourself. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like it, follow us, share it with somebody. This is Love One Life. This is about living the life that you want to live and enjoying it now, not one day in the future. Keep an eye out for our next episode, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.